All right, let's let it rip. Game number 2 of our doubleheader. We have Get Stuffed and ReGen Black, the two top teams in the Heroic Division. And for this set, I'm going to be joined by ReGen alumnus, ReGen luminary, and ReGen master, Ragnarok. What's happening, Rag, baby?
How's it going, man? Far too kind. I am but a platinum pleb that happens to be the coach, one of the coaches, maybe the only coach of ReGen Red, in fact. So
right on.
Yeah, excited to be here, man.
Breaking out the fan. Murda's going to be lurking in chat, so I'm sure he's going to blow it up left and right. We can expect that. All right, what else is happening? Where are we headed tonight? We have banned out, Get Stuffed has removed Cursed Hollow, and ReGen Black banned out Braxis. Our first map tonight is going to be Towers of Doom. And then following that, we're going to be headed to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Reg, you have been following ReGen Black, obviously. I've been taking a peek a little bit at Get Stuffed. What are your impressions of this matchup? What are going to be the hinges upon this, which this matchup swings?
Yeah, good question, man. So both of these are, in fact, the top teams in the Heroic Division at the current point in time. Both of these teams have a great ability to not only flex and draft really interesting sorts of things, but their play and their consistency, I think, will be what take them to victory. So I'm looking forward to some good drafts. We'll see if they decide to change it up just a little bit, but I think it's going to come down to the team fights, Bobo.
Right on. Love to see it. From what I've seen from both these teams, listen, they're smart teams, they're veteran teams. Even though Get Stuffed is new, you look at that roster and, you know, we'll certainly see it. This is a group of players that have been around in NGS for quite a while. They know what they're doing. And I expect patient macro, safe macro, and then some explosive team fights with a lot of whole different fun things going on. Once again, first map is going to be Towers of Doom. My favorite map in the rotation, followed up by Tomb of the Spider Queen. Before we hop into the standings and we get to the draft, Rag, prediction tonight, babe?
Dude, I mean, I know caster impartiality is a thing. I want ReGen Black to win, man. I want to give them the 2-0.
Okay. Oh boy, I think, and this is going to be, I don't want to say biased. I want to see a draw, just because when you have a matchup between teams like this that are at the top of the standings in the respective division and are looking great, I would love to see. I'd love to see the draw, and then, hey, let's get the final later in the playoffs. Again, these are the teams right at the top. ReGen Black 7-1, Get Stuffed 8-2. Pride Start Gaming right behind both of them. And Potato Esports actually making a really good impression early on. I'd like to see that from those boys.
I want to see some good competition, man. That's what I want to see in this particular series. And you know what? Yes. I'm confident that's what we're going to get.
I do think I'm a little off there. I think that's a win against Sean Kingston, but we do see recently Get Stuffed with a draw against Offensive Gaming. And the big one, ReGen Black got the win against Pride Stark. A huge win for them. Can they keep the momentum of Doom? We are headed to Towers for game number 1.
All right. And if I am correct here, this was in fact a ReGen Black pick, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So we will see Get Stuffed with that first ban and that first pick. Towers of Doom, a map where a lot of focus is on those rotations and the team fights around those bell towers. Genji and Maev being immediately banned out. Not too surprising. Those two heroes in particular being able to destroy pretty much any backline that they can get into.
We see the Dahaka ban come out as well. Let's see if we get the Yrel response.
I think it's going to be Yrel or Azmodan. Asmo currently run in a 4-man or in the 1-1-3 in particular to get those early game stacks. I do think the Yrel should be the pick here, but let's see what ReGen decides on.
This draft is a little different in that most drafts, at least here in the early parts of season number 5, have tended towards eliminating all the backline heroes, especially the problematic ones. Raynor, Azmodan, you know, they typically get removed very early. We see 2 solo laners and 2 melee flexes, and we start the draft off for Get Stuffed with a Deckard Cain.
Not super surprising to me, Deckard being one of the top meta supports at the moment. What does ReGen follow up with? Azmodan, Raynor are still up. Garrosh, to this day, still can be a force to be reckoned with, depending on the team that's being played against. So How does ReGen respond here? Do they take a white main here prior to that ban phase?
They go Phoenix and Muradin. Haymaker, Playmaker coming through for Ghosty. But the Deckard, I do have to, get stuff that allows them to sort of sit back and react a little bit. So now they see the Muradin and the Phoenix combo coming through. With that being a Muradin, you do have to wonder what Phoenix is going to get for the follow-up on Purification Salvo. We see Diablo and Blaze picked up. That's a big front line on the side of Get Stuffed.
And that Blaze being so critical in denying that Purification Salvo from the Phoenix. So an immediate counter by Get Stuffed. As we see that Raynor being banned out, his auto attack and the slows comboed with that Deckard, just not something that wants to be dealt with.
They were very quick on that white main, man. That's how much they fear that hero. I actually thought, listen, if you want to play for the 200 IQ play, you might have thought about Thrall here. It's going to be very tough for Phoenix, given that you've got a bunker, given that you don't have the Diablo setup, which is the easiest form for him to get value out of Purification Salvo level 10. But we did see Jimmy get banned out as well. Do you think white main deserves the kind of respect that she is getting thus far in NGS?
I think she absolutely does. That hero has a couple of different builds. You often see the Q build still, even post-nerf, with her, but both of her ultimates are viable, denying a ton of damage. We haven't seen that damage from Get Stuff just yet, Prof, but let's see what they decide to go here. With 10 seconds left, they have their solo laner, so 2 damage dealers ideally. What's left on the board? Azmodan is actually still up. I would like to see that maybe with a Jaina for burst, but we get a Jaina and Junkrat. Awesome. There's your wave clear. There's your chaos in the form of that Junkrat, providing all that poke into this relatively squishy backline with just that solo laner left. I like Leoric actually into the Diablo Blaze personally, but we'll see what they pick.
I like the Jaina and the Junkrat. I think it's actually going to stress the Stukov quite a bit. So maybe we'll have to see. This is new Stukov, and new Stukov, it almost seems like where previously he was built around Lurking Arm. I do think the build right now is all in, what is it, Fetid Touch at 1 and the Long Pitch at 7. Those have been the consistencies through the new Stukov builds, and then the flexibility at level 4.
Long Pitch, I didn't really like the talent before the rework. I still think Targeted Excision is the pick. Into this sort of front line, the Blaze Diablo, with good positioning, you can get those consistent resets. I don't think there's a case for Biotic Armor at 4, really, because they're not playing into a ton of auto damage, but I think if ReGen Black can sustain through that burst and the poke and literally the CC chain from the side of Get Stuff, they have a good shot here.
I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Buns on that Malthael. Listen, you've got a couple of different buttons here that can be pressed, but getting value out of Last Rites with a Blaze and a Bunker available is always going to be a challenge. They get a poke comp. It's going to be tough for them to get the backline damage. I like the draft of Get Stuffed. I like it a lot.
I think I would put my eggs in their basket too. The damage from ReGen Black, outside of that Phoenix's Purification Salvo that can be bunkered, it's sustained damage. I don't see really any burst. With that Stukov's Lurking Arm, should he talent into the big arm at 7 now, and even with the root, we'll be able to control, but there's going to be a lot of pressure on that Hanzo to land those arrows, but we'll see how it goes. It's really any person's game.
And here we are, game number 1, the top 2 teams in Heroic Division. Get pumped up, this one should be cool. On the side of Get Stuff, Dragon King will be on the Diablo. Psycho going to be playing the Jaina. Drink and Run. Headed back to Hearth for a hot minute on the Deckard Cain. John Knight will be on the Blaze. And Battle Jet will be on the Junkrat.
Awesome. And on the right-hand side, we have ReGen Black with Penguin for the win on the Hanzo. The team captain Ghosty on that Muradin. Gatsby playing the Stukov. Love Not War on the Phoenix. And Buns in that solo lane on the Malthael.
Level 1's picked up. Everything looking nice and plain. Nothing crazy. But for Stukov at the level 1, low blow. Bit of a trade here in the early part. Again, this is 2 good teams. I don't expect any crazy shenanigans. Ghosty with a little bit of poke there. We'll see how the stacking talents wind up faring. There's a concussion mine. Love Not War should be all right. The Phoenix. Maltheo and Blaze beginning on up top, and Hanzo headed bottom.
Nice. We do see Hanzo picking up that soak and deciding to talent into that W build as expected on this map. Quick for the boss burn and for shooting that geometry. You see here him netting. We do see that Junkrat getting pressured slightly and pushed back in the mid lane, but both teams right now are respecting their positions with these camps spawning right now.
Penguin's getting some big stacks there. He had 2 really nice shots. Nice bit of geometry there on the Hanzo. And right now for Get Stuff, listen, they're just trying to figure out how to get back into that sort of split soak. But listen, if you got to have one hero who's just got to kind of hang out and hit minions from afar, Junkrat.
Absolutely. We do see ReGen Black posturing and beginning to take that camp as Ghosty is postured a little aggressively into that siege camp for Get Stuff on the left.
Here comes Buns. The invade is coming. It looks like Phoenix as well as Maltheo are going to be there first. Ghosty jumps in. He's standing on the point. Dragon King with the Shadow Charge and the Concussion Mine knocks Ghosty over the wall and into mid. That's a long way for the Dwarf to go. He's just waiting to hopefully get the Dwarf Toss cooldown.
Wow, I cannot believe he escaped that. Just standing there in the nick of time, getting that healing pathogen by the Stukov. Unbelievable. Wow, well done by the Junkrat.
I think Get Stuff just assumed that Murden would go down. I mean, they didn't commit a single resource. They wound up picking up their own camp, so they do get the Pumpkin Zappers. And First Blood is not picked up, despite Murden, I don't know, hanging out for a country minute on the wrong side of the map.
Really well done here by the Stukov. I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but as Stukov, you can silence those sappers from charging into the towers in the bot lane. So well done there by Gatsby remembering to do that and preventing those from crashing. So both teams pretty even in experience with Get Stuff just a little bit ahead in that soak.
No globals here, and no Ripper air yet, of course, on Junkrat. So we do expect everything to play out. Listen, kind of standard. We see Maltheo and Blaze up top, but Buns maybe playing aggressive, maybe looking for the double soak. He does have on a Pale Horse for the increased rotate speed. Diablo in big trouble. Penguin steps up. Lord of Terror does so much.
First blood over by ReGen Black. Excellent silence from that Stukov in that choke point, netting him also with that W and just preventing that Diablo from escaping. As we do see that Phoenix beginning to channel in the bot lane, it looks like ReGen Black will be picking up 2 of these altars. You know,
the early disruption of the rotation has kept Junkrat specifically from being in the same lane as Hanzo, and Hanzo can just outrange Jaina. He is not vulnerable to the skill shots of Deckard Cain. It requires a really hard commit from Diablo. So if Get Stuff cannot get Battle Jet in the same lane as Penguin, I do think he's just going to continue to reap the good rewards we have seen early. Here comes the invade from Ghosty, potentially looking for Psycho.
Here we go with the engage, going forward with that Deckard providing the slows to let the team disengage slightly, and with a 4v3 in that bot lane, our blue team Get Stuff just moves back a little bit, realizing probably that ReGen will be hitting that level 7 first. Maltheo taking the soak in the mid and that top lane as the 4-man continues to push and pressure that bot lane.
Camp is going to be picked up here, especially the way that the last camp worked out with Ghosty getting launched on the wrong side of the map. The invade is here, and it will be available for ReGen. We'll see if they can bring Buns down. Like we do see the Phoenix actually going in there a little bit aggressive, Bobo, but with that lurking arm talent picked up at 7, there is a good amount of zoning potential. Hanzo actually completing his quests already and just beginning to zone out that Blaze. As the team continues to push in, the Blizzard doing so much damage, zoning out our red team. Ghosty continuing to push in with a 3-man route in the back that silenced, hitting that Diablo, but Love Not War on that Phoenix forced to back off. Ghosty needs to jump out as the camp is taken over by the blue team, but in that back, the Junkrat being taken out by the Maltheo. Excellent pickup as the Blaze misses that charge, and ReGen Red begins to back off. You know, Buns was there, I guess you could say, last on the rotate, but winds up confirming the only kill of that exchange. Get Stuff does, however, wind up picking up the camp, so that is going to be pushing down bot lane. And, well, the shenanigans that went on there and a whole lot of health bars being depleted. ReGen doesn't quite have enough to pull off the invade, but they are up 2-0 in terms of kills.
Very good for ReGen in that case. Both teams, in fact, deciding to trade for this second altar phase, as generally does happen. But now with the map effectively reset, with the exception of that camp in the top, ReGen and Get Stuff go back to their lanes and are starting to look for their level 10s.
So Rag, Get Stuffed has really struggled, and they've fallen behind about 3/4 of a level here. They're obviously going to have to give up level 10 if this keeps pace. What do they need to change here on the map in order to catch up in terms of experience?
I think the team needs to just be a little bit more aggressive. We see here Gofty just positioning in that enemy bush. I think that Diablo needs to find a pick because ReGen's backline is squishy, in particular in this 4-man. But wait a minute, in this bot lane, the Diablo does get caught. The silence does go down. Diablo getting absolutely chunked. Can that Hanzo finish up the kill? No, he does not. As the wave just approaches, ReGen Black pushing into this bot lane.
Battle Jet, does he have a concussion mine here? Love Not War is low. Diablo goes in for the Shadow Charge, but does not get the suplex. The concussion mine comes out. Ghosty's got a long way to retreat out. We'll have to dodge the Blizzard here from Jaina. There's the Dwarf Toss. Evade Scroll of Sealing, and everybody is all right. Boy, Love Not War has been playing aggressively, and if Battle Jet can get there maybe 2 or 3 seconds earlier, he might have an opportunity to knock the Phoenix out of commission. But thus far, no deaths on the side of ReGen Black. They will pick up level 10 with the next wave. Buns looking for the mid wave.
ReGen has to be a little bit careful here. They might get invaded pre-10. No, it looks like Get Stuff is just focusing on their level 10s themselves. We do see Avatar, Purification Salvo, Last Rites, the Dragon's Arrow, and Sukov deciding to go into the Flailing Swipe.
Here is the aggressive play. Love Not War is up ahead. Gopti comes in. Does not get the Stormbolt onto Battle Jet, but they do wind up finding Diablo. Purification Salvo comes out. Last Rites is going to get the first kill on Diablo. One press of the R button. One stack for Buns.
I think Get Stuffed got a little hasty there. They did not have their level 10, and Diablo just instantly going down. Thankfully, he was at 93 souls, so he didn't end up losing that. But now with Hanzo at that level 7 going into that W talent, these camps are just not going to last very long. ReGen here deciding to invade that enemy camp with the advantage. Those sappers being stopped by the Rue and just taken down by the Jaina Blizzard.
Ooh, none of them make it through, but Jaina herself is now caught out. Gofty, snap reaction to pick up the kill on Jaina. Penguin looking for a way out. The Lord Nado is proc, but does not connect. Here comes the Riptire. Hanzo instantly deleted. We got to follow with Lightning Breath. John Knight with the Jet Propulsion does hit Murden. Has been locked in. A long way to go out of this Lightning Breath. The Dwarf Toss has come out. Love Not War with the port. Gaspy evades the concussion mine.
That was a 5v4 fight in that bot lane in favor of our blue team Get Stuffed. Actually, it was a 4v4, my mistake, because that Jaina had gone down. But I think they just need to respect the flank, they being ReGen Black in this case, as the teams begin pushing into that mid lane.
It's John Knight with a big Jet Propulsion there, helping to confirm the kill. Penguin went down. There's a Dragon Arrow in. A huge 3-man hit. Psycho is low. Gofty looking to chase down Jaina yet. Again, there's a Lurking Armor that's going out. Gaspy on the backside is being pressured. The Purification Salvo. Drink and Run uses a pot to stay just barely alive. Gofty's low. Love Not War has no warp. He's gone. There's the bunker for defense. Murden goes down as well. A 3-for-1.
And this is why I love the Junkrat, providing so much zoning and just preventing the Murden from really being able to peel for that backline. Unfortunately, ReGen Black losing 3 members right during this altar phase will most definitely allow Get Stuffed to gain 8 different points. We do see the interrupt from that Hanzo, but he needs to be a little bit careful to not stagger the deaths, as we do see Junkrat channeling the middle with Diablo taking the bottom.
That will actually even this game up. I mean, the only difference is that 1 kill that ReGen Black has a slight advantage. But the one thing that they do have going for them is that they have done an exemplary job in the bottom lane here. As you can see, they still have the entirety of their wall with just some damage to a gate. And they're picking up yet another camp that will push right on into this bottom bell tower for Get Stuffed.
The macro play from ReGen Black here being particularly good. They're pretty much at these camps the moment they're spawning. There is a collapse happening on that Junkrat. The Stormbolt just missing ever so slightly. Penguin not hitting that Hanzo W either. Unfortunate side effect here, but the Diablo is getting caught as the teams are zoned out, Bobo.
There's another situation where ReGen Black finds them splitting the members of Get Stuffed, and Get Stuffed this time does not have the camp started. We've got a 5-on-5 here. Both teams at level 13, and everybody's got their R buttons. Gofty is eating the Shadow Charge there from Dragon King. Nothing happening yet. We've got 3 sappers pushing up. Psycho getting rid of 1. And only one sapper eventually makes its way through to the bottom bell tower. Good defense here from Get Stuff.
Very cool indeed, as we see ReGen Black backing off just a little bit, potentially looking for an invade here on the Blaze. The Blaze getting away ever so slightly, but taking about 50% of his health in damage. In 20 seconds, we will see those altars spawn, but how does ReGen decide to handle this? We do see 4 members of Get Stuff in that bot lane, posturing and protecting this lane, which for this particular map is the most important one as the altars begin to spawn.
You know, one thing I thought was missing. We didn't get it this game. We have Avatar on Muradin. Has somebody convinced Ghosty to get off the Playmaker 100% of the time? What's happening here?
I have no idea what's going on. Playmaker, Haymaker, man. That is my motto. That's probably why I don't play tanks.
It's the Ghosty special. I feel like this is a little bit of robbery. I hope he didn't fat finger that bad boy. All right. Battle Jet makes it down here. 1 tower remaining, 20 shots on the core defense each side. Ghosty is in the face of Battle Jet. Thinks better of it. Buns with a little bit of poke, shifting Psycho off of this point.
We do see an engage happening on Ghosty in that back line, getting zoned out at about 50% of his health. The Blaze landing on 4 people with that stun. The Purification Salvo going out, doing damage to 4 people. The Bunker, however, saving a lot of the team members. And 2 go down for ReGen Black at the time, make that 3, but the trade on the Blaze as the Lornado pushes everyone behind as ReGen begins to scurry away.
They're having a tough time breaking down Diablo as well as Blaze. So, let's see if he gets the delay. Surely
a delay there by the but it's 2v4 right now. I think they just have to take the loss, maybe do a little bit of poke damage. Yes. That Deckard eating so much, literally all those arrows. But that is an altar going over to Get Stuffed, and they are in the lead right now, 20-16.
Their first lead of the game. So you can see what ReGen Black was trying to change in that team fight. They took Ghosty, they took Muradin, their backline pressure, and they just tried to stick him onto Battle Jet. Because if Jet can get that Riptire off, he's going to find a way to convert a kill. Stukov has not really been able to keep the members of ReGen Black high through the longer team fight. But what winds up happening is that without another teammate there to pressure, you know, the Junkrat on the backside, Get Stuff just doesn't feel the pressure. They can just kind of hang out for a while, and when they can sort of stack up in a 5v5 team fight, we saw Lightning Breath plus Jet Propulsion do a big number on the health bars of ReGen Black. Absolutely.
Ghosty looking to check that bush and making sure there isn't a gank. We do see the Diablo position aggressively here. Ghosty needs to be a little careful. Hanzo Arrow can provide you the vision required to prevent that, as we see both teams hit level 16 at the exact same time.
Yet another Sapper camp, and yet again Psycho steps forward. There's a Scroll of Sealing and the Blizzard. There's a Jet Propulsion on the backside. Ghosty might be caught out here. There's the Lornado, a huge silence and a big root. Purification Salvo coming through, but there is the Bunker to match it. All 4 members of Get Stuff get in. The Welly has been popped as well. Flailing Swipe. Ghosty trying to get out. That might cox Gaspy. Oh, that Flailing Swipe might have done it. Dragon King finds him. There's the Lightning Breath. 1. Make Love Not War is 2. Ghosty with a long way to go. There's the Dwarf Toss, the Stormbolt. Riptire coming through. The root does not hit anybody, but Penguin has a long way to get out of here.
Ghosty being chased by the Jaina. The Q missing. Hanzo doing a ton of damage, almost netting those kills with Buns. Now here chasing and getting all of those Q resets, but ReGen losing 2 members with none lost on the side of Get Stuffed. Resetting slightly, both teams level 16, but they need to be a little bit careful here as we're now into the mid to late game. That Lornado missing Buns ever so slightly. Diablo looking for that engage. So much CC, but Muradin gets out by the skin of his teeth.
Barely escapes the Scroll of Sealing, and now Get Stuffed thinking about bottom lane. There's a 5-stack coming for the bottom bell tower. I mean, this is a bell tower that we thought would have been ReGen Black's. You know, a while ago, they have had this bell tower right here exposed for most of the game. But Psycho and Drink and Run have done a fantastic job. Every time ReGen Black has capped a camp, eventually it moves up to the bell tower, and it is met by a Scroll of Sealing and a Blizzard and immediately wiped out.
And we do see both teams prioritizing this bot lane as they should. The Junkrat going up and slowly rotating. We do see an engage on the Blaze, but no real follow-up from ReGen Black.
Get Stuff has made a change up. They have taken Junkrat along with Ripper Air and used him as a double soaker. And I think it has fared them well. It certainly makes them less susceptible to ganks as long as Junkrat is not the target. I'd like to see ReGen Black I don't know, maybe take an extra member or two and see if they can pick off the Junkrat, as Battlejet has been moving here between top and mid without interruption.
We do see a Stormbolt on that Diablo, but the Stukov Silence just a little bit late. The red team pushing in slightly, trying to move those sappers in, but through the damage of the Junkrat and that Jaina, there's just impossible. We do see an engage on the Diablo, or by the Diablo, excuse me, the Lightning Breath coming out. Everyone forced back out of that, but ReGen still alive. The Lornado missing with a 3-man arrow. Gofi diving that backline, but the bunker saving everyone. Once again, a 2-person root, but the Purification Salvo saved just in the nick of time. The Ice Block saving the Jaina. Can Hanzo continue doing damage to the backline? No. Without a wave here, ReGen is forced to retreat, but without 2 members on the side of Get Stuffed, it looks like ReGen will be taking this altar and once again getting closer and closer to both teams having that same altar score. Do they take the boss here, Bobo?
I think they need to put the focus on the bottom lane. The first team to get bottom lane, I think, will wind up winning this game. They finally both have, the structures exposed. There's a little bit of damage on both sides. That time, in that team fight, ReGen Black did a great job of being patient. They were not fooled by the bunker. They waited. You saw Last Rites come out immediately as everybody exited and a ton of damage go out on top. And now ReGen Black again setting their sights on the bottom bell tower here.
I agree. Great adjustment by that Phoenix. That patience netting those 2 kills. And you were spot on, Bobo. They got that bottom bell tower. And if everything goes according to plan, they will keep that under control. Keep the blue team back. And just continue dominating here, keeping that secured and keeping control in the other lanes.
Yeah, you can see the idea here. Buns, just highlight real quick on Malthael, abusing top mid with On a Pale Horse. And this will get ReGen Black to 20 with a solo altar bottom. And Get Stuff will be down that talent here for sure. There's the charge. Murden is followed up by the Jet Propulsion Purification Salvo to answer. Love Not War gets it away cleanly. Riptire as well. The bunker will help to cover. Blaze as well as Diablo in there, now exiting. Bunge shows up. We see Welly popped. Gofi goes in. There's the follow-up, and Junkrat goes down to the Dragon Arrow.
Amazing engage, and once again, the team continues fighting. We have Gofi pushing into that backline, attempting to take out that Blaze. The Diablo going so low with the Q just taking him out with 1 more hit. ReGen taking out 2 members here. Great team fight focus, and with the control of that bot lane preventing Get Stuffed from pushing on in as Malthael takes that cap for a total of 5 points.
They take a 1-shot advantage. Now they get Pumpkin Sappers going bottom, and keep an eye on Gofi here. Now I would think that they would head for the boss. I'm thinking about mid. They leave Penguin here in the bottom lane just to try to get a little bit of extra clearance, some extra chip damage. 4 members mid, 3 Pumpkin Sappers, running it down bottom. And 20s have been picked up for ReGen Black.
We do have to also remember that Hanzo does have that burn build with his W's and that Pierce at 16. The team rotating back to that bot lane, once again maintaining that control, having in their possession now 5 out of the 6 bell towers on this team, still with that level 20 advantage. If they can somehow look to bait and maybe wipe Get Stuff, that could be it for them. Let's see what they decide to do.
Time is not on Get Stuff's side. There's a double altar phase. It is here, and the only path Get Stuff currently has to access this objective is through the jungle. They need some splits, though. They need to wind up sending battle jets somewhere just to pick up an extra couple of waves. If they don't have 20 when this objective, pings for this 30-second warning, I don't know how they're going to be able to do anything other than force a terrible fight.
I agree completely. Gofi being a little cheeky here with that Phoenix warping between that mid and that bot lane, looking for a pick potentially on that Diablo. Let's see. We do have a root on the Diablo with the Purification Salvo not hitting anyone. It was well intentioned though. That is a Diablo without enough souls. And right before this altar phase, Bobo.
I think that might be it. 15 seconds. The only way Get Stuff stay in this video game is if they take a tower out. Gofi there mid. They've got a little bit of wave pressure. I mean, Get Stuff has just been trying this bot lane. Penguin gets hit with the jet propulsion. Here comes the follow-up, but the concussion mine actually knocks him away. Love Not War should have warp. There isn't enough CC here. Gaspy mid, Buns bottom. This is 6 shots apiece. That's going to do it.
Wow, Bobo. Game number 1 going over to ReGen Black, but even with that victory. Both teams really close for the entire duration of that game, in my opinion.
It was very solid. I think that Get Stuffed really won the block of team fights between like 10 and 16. And then when it took ReGen Black a couple of times to sort of work through the bunker cooldown especially, and that's where they just sort of regained control over this. And listen, first team to take bottom bell tower, what do you think the percentage of times that they win? It's more than most, right?
I would agree, yes. And once again, just keeping that control, preventing the teams from, effectively pushing into you. I had mentioned before, getting that boss would potentially also be a win condition, but ReGen Black electing to get that mid lane, looking at the fact that 2 altars were spawning. So kudos to them for that macro call. I think I personally would have gone the boss, but that particular decision netted them the game.
Well, listen, that's top team in Heroic Div's thinking right there. That's 200 IQ. Yeah, how many times on Towers of Doom do you get a game that goes, what is it? It ended 12-0, and no one ever even fainted boss. There was never even like a bush check.
Not at all. I was hoping for it. I wanted to see who in this team or who in this game would throw, but no, both teams showing a lot of restraint. Very meta picks here, very meta comps, well thought out, well-intentioned drafts, but in the end, ReGen Black taking the first game of the series.
I do think Get Stuffed, I think they had a really good draft. Again, they had great team fights, especially in that 10 to 16 block. So we are headed. Game number 2 is going to be played on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and this will be the map selection of Get Stuffed. Changes you want to see in draft from either side?
I think, honestly, the drafts were pretty good overall. I think they both had the ability to win that video game. And as I kind of mentioned before the first game, I think it's just going to come down to team fights, because both teams pretty well focused on the macro of this map. But just with those picks post 10 from ReGen Black and those adjustments in particular with that purification salvo and the blaze, I think that's what turned the game. We did have that sick route that really set up the end of the game by the Stukov. So well done by Gaspy there. Just saw it on the replay on the delayed stream.
Yeah, he could
really good play.
He secured a few kills, especially around that moat area in the bottom lane. I think Govty was concerned with trying to push at the back line, but occasionally you'd see like a 2-man virulent reaction, and that's going to do it. No cleanse on Deckard. You're not really going to be able to get anybody out of there. And then don't forget, he also went low blow at level 1, so you could like see the damage start to scale. That was pretty cool. Some different Stukov builds. I don't think he is the, I don't know, I guess you would call him like the third support out of the group. I think he still lags behind some of the other supports, but he does look to be very versatile.
Yeah, and I feel like based on the current meta, I don't want to say that Get Stuffed necessarily forgot how to play against him. I think they just need to respect the zoning potential of that silence should ReGen Black decide to go that Stukov again. You don't generally see him. You still see, I would say, Malfurion or other supports picked over him. But, I mean, it made that difference. If you can land that rune and you can keep people silenced, then GG, well played. That's sometimes all it takes, especially in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, they changed it around the build so that, the old sort of easy, lurking arm build has gone away, but Virulent Reaction didn't move. And it's still the playmaking support play that you need if you're going to separate your Stukov from the average pack, if you will.
Absolutely, and I like the talent adjustment, that additional damage in that early to mid game, also netting at least 1 or 2 kills, but overall, both teams incredibly strong with their team fight potential. But, Hanzo doing Hanzo things, escaping. Both, in fact, I didn't mention this in the pre-draft in our first game, but both teams also with a lot of mobility. We had the Meriden Phoenix Hanzo doing acrobatics a lot of that game, which did prevent the red team Get Stuffed from capturing that middle bell tower back, which enabled the win. So, again, really cool plays there. Haven't really seen people play hot potato or leapfrog on that map like that, but you learn something new every day, man.
And I love seeing Penguin's Hanzo. He just got a lot of just like quick stacking scatter arrows.
That Hanzo was stacked at 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Holy.
So
on a pretty big map.
On a pretty big map, just really focusing on those small choke points from that mid to bot lane. So I mean, folks, take notes. That's what it takes to get stacked, and you see it get a lot of value and poke potential nice and early on in the game.
Teams are currently cycling into the lobby. A couple of members of ReGen Black yet to be here. Shout out to chat. Murda and company. Who do I see? I see Kath. I see Cardona. I've seen Mongoose. I've seen Gristle. So we've got ReGen Blue. We've got ReGen Old School. We've got ReGen Red. We've got ReGen Light Purple. ReGen Mauve, I think, is also in chat. But we did see some Get Stuffed fans. Love to see that in there as well. We see Cathazia cheering for the boys there. All right, Love Not War is our final member to sort of sneak in here. So Tomb of the Spider Queen will be map number 2. Let's Get Stuffed. Get their map pick. We'll see if they make some changes and see what the approach is here. As we hit the tomb shortly, let's get our R buttons. Got him. Let's go.
Do we have the right team selected?
We had better.
For first pick?
Yeah.
I think it... Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I will take your word for it.
We'll find out darn shortly. They said R. Nah, we don't have this right. Remake.
Rip. Rip.
Remake! Everybody leave. Alright, so hold on, let me figure out how to do this right. Let's do that. Good. Gazlo ban. Didn't want to see it anyway.
Rip.
Rip that. I'll be right back in. My bad. Alright, Tomb. We saw Jaina and we saw Junkrat. I like the Junkrat play from BattleJet. I actually expect that to possibly be a part of that draft. I'm logging back in. Let's get this going.
All good, man. Thank you. No worries.
We'll throw that right back out there. Let's see. Listen, Shdukov was an old Tomb pick. Could be playing a part here.
I think Stukov in general is still really powerful, even with the nerfs to the OG AFK arm build. I think, especially on this particular map, post level 7 with the wave, if you get those spiders pushing down the lanes, he's still a force to be reckoned with. He can still zone so much. So just need to be a little bit careful. And, you know, we'll see. We'll see what they decide to pick.
Okay. Attempt number 2. Let's do this. No match history. Team 2. Ha ha ha. Attempt numero dos.
We got this, man. This looks good now. This looks good.
I saw the R's and you're like, is this right? I'm like, oh man. I was just hoping. Honestly, I was just hoping that I did it.
My bad, dude. I failed you too. I failed you.
Yes. Exactly.
World.
Exactly. By the way, Rag recently promoted to caster in a much deserving move. So I was gonna say blame the caster hopeful, but now that you've got your promotion, nope, I'm gonna have to hit myself after this cast. Congratulations, by the way, man. I'm really happy that you've taken the time to join us among the caster ranks here in season number 5.
I appreciate that, man. It's been a lot of fun so far, getting to cast a lot of teams. It's a way for me to pay it forward and to continue improving my ability to not only commentate on these games, but hopefully provide some level of education, a little bit of, you know, trash talk now and then, and just give both teams accurate representation of, you know, all the hard work that they're putting into making this a cool season in NGS.
Right on, man. You catch any fun teams? Anybody you've got that you know can't wait to cast again?
Good question. I've been, just based on the way the schedule's worked, I've been primarily focusing on the ReGen teams in the past few weeks because I feel I know them and it's a good way for me to practice my own casting. But going into the next few weeks, I want to try to hit the different divisions and more importantly, hit teams that haven't been casted yet. So I will be able to answer that question for you a little bit later as I kind of expand out my horizons. Do you see that? See what I did there?
I did, actually. You dodged the hell out of that question.
Yeah, something like that.
Well played. Well played, veteran. Veteran move. All right. Feedbot really tried to make his way in here. Hi, Titans King.
We want it be on West.
No. You said watch it be on West. I'm not changing it to
Got
West.
it. Okay.
It should be Central. I never change. Okay. Attempt number 2. Let's, you know, hey, hopefully we're picking up the suspense. All right, this time, ReGen Black is going to be picking first. The way that it should have been.
All right, Tomb of the Spider Queen, a map where more often than not we do see heroes picked that are particularly good at wave clear and rotating quickly between that mid and top lane. You generally do see a 4-man rotation there with your solo laner traditionally in that bot lane. Heroes that are generally picked on this map can include things like that Azmodan, which I would expect to be in this first ban phase. And you know, sometimes you see your mages too. Your Jaina's, your Gul'dans generally make appearances here. But let's see what both teams decide to pick. Genji being a ban in that last game. We also had Yorel being banned, Maiev being the first ban for ReGen Black.
I've been really digging the amount of Kael'thas we've been getting in Season 5. Because it's a hero that has been nothing more than like a rare comfort pick. A difficult hero to execute. But he has shown up quite a bit. I've seen a lot more Kael'thas than either Jaina or Gul'dan in this season thus far.
It's kind of an interesting shift. I generally tend to gravitate more towards the Jaina because of the blow-up potential you get, especially in that late game. But as we look at the first ban phase, nothing too surprising here. Genji, Maiev being similar bans from game number 1. What does ReGen Black pick for their first pick? Do they prioritize that? Oh, there's the Azmodan. Not a big surprise here.
2018, the year of the Asmo. Jimmy on the board. Both tanks that you would consider to be... Actually, all 3 tanks that would be incredibly strong. You see Joanna, Diablo, and Garrosh have made it through the ban phase. Joe and
Deckard, Johanna being the pickups here. Good wave clear from that Johanna, and Deckard, a pretty good force to be reckoned with. We saw a lot of plays there in that last game. Lornado definitely disrupting some of those team fights in addition to that Junkrat. But what do we see as follow-up here for ReGen Black? I expect the Muradin as a pick, and maybe the support or something else.
I think they can let the support go unless they feel like... Okay. They wanted the Stukov again. They let the Muradin go, but they do pick up the Phoenix.
I had a suspicion that they would pick their support only because if Get Stuff did not want to deal with it, then it probably would have been banned here. So Stukov being a meta pick on this map prior to his changes, and I would argue still being a pick through the changes. The Diablo being something that Get Stuff does not want to deal with, though.
I want a Blaze ban here on the side of ReGen. You can see it. Yep, Johanna. I mean, Johanna Blaze is just an impassable wall. And especially considering you expect Ghosty to go, or at least be thinking about the Muradin, that would have been a hell of a task. But it does show, getting back to the support pick, that ReGen Black loves the Stukov.
I'm not too surprised, especially after the performance from Gatsby in that last game. We do have a solo laner and 2 damage dealers. There we see the Jaina, as I mentioned before, really good on this map and able to pick up globes with a Raynor that combos well with the Johanna and that Deckard.
What do you expect there at the end from ReGen Black here? We've got Leo on the board, Malthael yet again. Do you expect
Muradin and Malthael again?
Just keep it consistent.
I think so. The Muradin's almost generally it's always a good pick in my opinion. The solo could be different.
I could see a Stitches. Okay, Muradin and Sonya.
Is this a leap game?
Ooh, not. I tell you what, not if you go Playmaker. That would be the only. I'll keep an eye on it because again, like, listen, I play Grofty and scrims and like occasionally I'll catch him in a game. It's always Playmaker. That's why the avatar just kind of shocked me.
So who does they pick into that solo lane for the Sonya? I think it's either Malthael or Leoric, or a Dehaka.
I think I've seen Dehaka on Tomb, and Dehaka's usually kind of frowned on Tomb a little bit. But man, against what ReGen Black have, how are you gonna really get backline pressure when the backline is Phoenix and Azmodan, and they want to be playing far, far away, including Phoenix's Warp, of course. Maybe the Dahaka with the Burrow will provide the kind of backline pressure that ReGen Black needs. Or excuse me, that Get Stuff needs.
I think this might be a little bit tough for Get Stuff. They do have the blow up with the Jaina and sustain damage to that Rainer, but when I play Deckard into an Azmodan that's stacking on a map like this with those short rotations and the team fight potential around the turn-in points, a stacked Azmodan early game just you cannot sustain through consistent queues like that. So we'll see how Get Stuff plays. I think their best chance of winning here is getting ahead in that early game and just snowballing the map. But we'll see how both teams duke it out here as we get into Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Game number 2. Good stuff with yet another strong draft. But ReGen Black, the top team in Heroic, looking to pick up another domination. All right. On the side of ReGen Black, Gatsby will be playing the Stukov yet again. Gofty on the Muradin. Penguin for the win will be playing Phoenix, Love Not War on Azmodan, and Buns on the Sonya.
On the left-hand side, we have Get Stuff in the blue with John Knight on the Dahaka, the team captain Psycho on the Jaina, Deckard being played by Drink and Run, Dragon King on that Johanna, and Battlejet playing the Rainer.
Get Stuffed trying to pull ahead in the APM race early on.
B-steps always welcome early game, as both teams begin to push into that mid lane, looking to brawl.
And a Wrath Azmodan. Seen a couple of Annihilation games, but Wrath is OP.
With the Azmodan, with the rework now, Wrath is almost generally the pick, as we do see damage beginning to go out. Buns diving in a little bit deep, getting pulled back by that Dahaka without a ton of follow-up, but Gatsby being there to spread that pathogen as Dahaka and Sonya begin their brawl in that bot lane.
Nice play by John Knight there. Getting things going with a positive and a good drag by Dahaka.
And we do see here Gofty face rolling into 4, but Muradin, being Muradin, gets out without a problem as ReGen continues to get those kills and get Azmodan stacked, in fact, already at 16 with just these 2 waves.
Quick couple of waves and a good bit of efficiency there. This time, though, we see Dragon King leading Get Stuff from the front, and they're winning the race, although Gofty has different designs with the backline invade here.
A little bit ambitious in my opinion, and that will be first blood going over to Get Stuff. Generally don't see a Muradin engaged like that, but that Condemn landing right at the best time. Actually, was it the Condemn or the Rainer Q that interrupted the jump?
I'm not sure. It would have been, you know, it's like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It looked like he just got kind of crossed up and, I don't know, took the north path back to his teammates when I think maybe if he keeps going south, he might have been out there. But, hey, first blood, not that big of a deal. Buns already pushing John Knight, and Trait has to be popped by Dahaka there in the bot lane.
Yep, and with the wave clear provided by that Jaina on this particular map, we see those waves being annihilated, the Scroll of Sealing missing ever so slightly. Gatsby using that Lurking Arm to help with the wave clear as ReGen joins back into these rotations with actually our blue team being ahead in gems. I believe Gofty did lose a couple there in that death, so gems in favor for Get Stuffed at the current moment.
I like what Get Stuff they're doing here. Listen, you take the Johanna early, and you know maybe she's a little less flashy than say Garrosh or Diablo who are on the board, but you see what they're doing. They're laying the pots out through the jungle. They got Dragon King up front. They look good for the first objective. They're at 45 gems right now. One more wave to be picked up. In the meantime, Gatsby and Penguin have already picked up the Bruiser camp, which will start running it down mid for ReGen Black.
I do love that pickup here. The Bruiser's not focused for Get Stuff just yet, but this will provide some pressure. Jaina moving in and getting a clear as the teams begin to fight and duke it out. The Johanna in that backline with a giant Scroll of Sealing landing on 2 members. Gofty continuing to chase. I believe the shield is out. That's Johanna going so low, 250 health, but escaping with her life.
Tight, and Dragon King is carrying half of the gems currently for Get Stuffs. I have to be careful on that one. Gofty already again resuming the aggressive jungle play on this merge.
We do see ReGen looking to posture and turn in. They don't have the turn in just yet. NA math here, 47 out of 50 possible gems turned in, while Get Stuffed does have the full turn in. How do they react here? We do see Love Not War continuing to turn in as Dragon King is zoned off from the point by that lurking arm.
You know, I think Get Stuffed might have had ideas maybe about getting to 7, but ReGen Black has answered with some strong aggressive play, and they have evened out the experience. There's both Stormbolt in the way to Pustule.
We do see the Asmodean using that Q as they begin to engage with Buns rotating up to the top. Penguin taking so much damage on that Phoenix as Gofty continues to try to turn in there. 13 gems making it in, and Bobo, the first turn in goes over to ReGen Black.
Shout out to Buns for dominating in the bottom solo lane against John Knight and getting his turn in. You can see John Knight still holding 24 of the gems. Between John Knight and Dragon King, that is a full turn-in for Get Stuffed. But now they will have to set their eyes on the anti-siege. And they do have really good anti-siege. This is Jaina, Raynor, even Dahaka. They will do pretty well into the objective phase as long as they can resist the kill attempts here from ReGen Black.
ReGen Black beginning to push in. That Asmodean doing so much damage. The silence going out onto that point. As we mentioned before, Stukov still a force to be reckoned with. Asmo doing so much at 131 stacks, with those auto attacks continuing to get him stacked. We don't see the wall coming up, as you said, Bobo, because of the siege defense on the side of Get Stuffed.
So ReGen Black came into this objective phase slightly behind in XP. They're now about a quarter of a level up. Barring any more structures, we can see this expand a little bit. But they do have a very long road to level 10. And I'm hoping to see Get Stuffed play this aggressively. Otherwise, they might be in for a tough time.
Yeah, and all things considered, even though that top lane was in fact defended, we do see the entire mid fort wall and that entire bot wall going down. So those towers going over as experience to ReGen Black, not providing that defense anymore in those lanes, as we do see that Bruiser can pick up by Get Stuffed on the left.
Dead even in XP. But Get Stuffed well behind instructions right now. And again, we're checking in on the stack. That's a $155 on Asmodean. Boy, he's going to hit that 200 mark. I don't know, maybe 2 minutes away, something like that. And that's going to be a huge talent power spike for them. There's Gofty hitting the Stormbolt onto Raynor. A little bit of follow-up there with the Thunder Clap. Battle Jet shrugs that off.
Johanna is showing in that top lane with 55 gems. And right now, with one more gem up, that would be 2 turn-ins for the team if they can get that. A giant silence does go out and zones that Johanna as ReGen Black continues to push in.
A little bit of duel in the bottom lane with Sonya and Dahaka. Dahaka gets his 35 turned in, but that's the only turn-in that Get Stuffed has made.
We do see ReGen Black rotating over to that Bruiser camp in the mid lane, and hopefully, I'm not sure if Get Stuffed will notice this. This is a good opportunity for them to push in to try to get that turn in, but Bobo, both teams are approaching that level 10.
I mean, this is a perfect rotation by ReGen Black. Dahaka has already turned in gems, so you can take the focus off of the bottom lane. Could be trouble here as Buns winds up getting dragged. It gets Stuffed a little late to make the rotation. They do eventually get the turn in, but this will allow ReGen Black to get a little bit more time to set up. You can see they've got top pushing in fairly nicely, and now they do have their Bruiser camp there in the mid.
And take a look at those Asmo stacks. One more good Q, maybe one more wave or two, and that Asmo will be stacked with that first piece of that talent tier. We do see level 10s picked up by both teams. Massive shove, Purification Salvo, Haymaker, Playmaker. Here it is, boy. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see what that can do as that middle Web Weaver is getting cleared up very quickly.
On the side of Get Stuffed, we see Isolation, Watermill Elemental, Blessed Shield, Raynor's Raydor, and the Welly. So we got a little bit of a summon squad here for Get Stuffed. Wait.
We are seeing ReGen posturing in that top lane, attempting to defend, but Gofty getting zoned out just a little bit as that Web Weaver continues pushing up. Sonya clearing in that bot lane. The engage happening on Gatsby by the Johanna's Blessed Shield. Love Not War taking so much damage. The Water Elemental just destroying him with Sonya attempting to make a turn. Penguin needing to warp out of there. Gofty making it out of his life, but that Seismic Slam being just enough. Can that Raider get the kill on the Sonya? No. And after a crazy team fight, it is a 1 for 2 in favor of get stuffed.
They found Gatsby there. He threw the lurking arm out early, and then had to dodge the root. Oh, Gofty is in deep, and then Get Stuff just turned on him immediately. That's 26 gems. That's a big loss.
That is a big loss indeed. You have to be a little bit careful when making those kinds of decisions, especially when you know that the enemy team has that turn-in. So a little bit of a weird play there by ReGen Black, but both teams, again, the death timers are still very small. A second Web Weaver phase pushing in all those lanes. That top lane did take a significant amount of damage in that last Web Weaver phase, so let's see what ReGen Black decides to do here.
Get stuffed. We're the better team, I would say from level 10 to 16 in the first matchup. And once 10 is hit, they seem to come alive a little bit here in game 2 as well, and they claim the first fort of the game. As top is their focus in their second objective in the third Web Weaver phase of game number 2.
I like what Get Stuffed is doing here, Bobo. They got that fort in that top lane for that experience. With these two towers, they will be netting the level 13 advantage into ReGen Black. Black actually pushing them off that middle fort area with the Dahaka pushing in that bot lane. This will be level 13 for the team as they begin to push in to that bot lane.
Gofty on the backside. Keep an eye out here. Maybe a little bit of playmaker play, but Dragon King finds the goat. And now the objective phase ends. Murden lost 26 gems on that last kill. Both teams about even in terms of coin count.
This is insane, Bobo. We have 4 gems left for Get Stuff to get a third Web Weaver phase should they decide to do that. ReGen needing to be a little bit careful here because they are not level 13 just yet. I think they do need to soak to at least match up with that advantage. And 274 stacks on that Asmo. He's beginning to hurt.
That's going to be a big late game spike. It looks like it'll probably hit, I don't know, about level 16 for Love Not War. We'll keep an eye on how that winds up playing out. Jerkin Runner in a little bit of pressure there from the Globe. Penguin, for the win, does not follow it up, and Decker does get 12 gems dropped off. Both teams do have a turn-in, but obviously Get Stuff much closer.
The Raider taking the Stormbolt engage there, and Gofty actually taking it down there. Nice job.
I think it's trickier to kill than most people realize.
We do see the turn-in. Yeah, we do see the turn-in going over to ReGen Black. Them not being stopped there by our blue team. And experience after those last 2 Web Weaver phases for Get Stuff is now close to dead even. So how does ReGen Black posture here? They are getting more stacks for that Asmo as he jettisons over that 300. Gofty looking to engage on that Deckard in the top lane. The damage just a little bit late there, but let's see how they decide to do. Beginning to chunk down with every Asmodan Globe of Annihilation as Dahaka is clearing that bot lane.
The pressure from Asmo is going to lead to a great opportunity for ReGen Black to maybe push this real tough. Oh, here comes the playmaker. Psycho's in big trouble. He goes over the wall. Oh, Gofty winds up beating the Blessed Shield. Muradin is low. Mid-fort goes down. The Raider needs a couple more auto attacks. Gatsby's trying to escort him out. The Raider needs to get one more auto. Gofty lives. There's second win coming through. Boy, he had about 30, maybe 20 hit points left, and the Raider trying to chase him down.
He had 8 hit points left. One more hit would have gotten him. But we just engage on that, and Gofty in that back line as the team begins to push. The Lornado zoning everyone out, with the Asmodan Q hitting everyone. A 5-man purification salvo with a silence on top of that Dahaka. Getting rooted there, keeping him alive, but Murden needs to be careful here. Jumps out to get that save, and John Knight popping that essence, staying alive with that Asmodan doing so much damage. The Scroll of Sealing going out, and how did no one die there, Bobo?
First game was a bloodbath. Second game just feels like everybody's found their jukes, finding a little bit of a rhythm. Love Not War is doing heavy damage on this Asmo. Once this hits 16, I am really afraid for Get Stuffed.
I don't even know what's going to happen here. We do see the Sonya going in just a little bit. Gofty looking for an engage. That Globe of Annihilation missing everyone on the team. The Dahaka getting focused down with the root landing on that Dahaka by that Stukov. With Buns, I think, actually going down. It's a 1-for-1 currently, Bobo.
The trades are being made. Gofty looking for the kill on Psycho. He's got the Playmaker, and the Playmaker actually finishes Jane off and pinched her up against the wall. So Gofty finds the second kill. The solo laners are traded, but the big kill is Jaina. Now the map belongs to ReGen Black. They don't have any gems currently. I mean, they're 16, 20 now out of 60. But all of the camps are up and available. What's the move that they make here?
I think they need to be aggressive here with that level 16 and 2 members down. I would like to see them invade that bruiser camp, but the team does seem to be a little split. That Phoenix going to soak that massive wave in the bot lane. I think that's probably okay, to be honest with you, but I would have liked them to press their advantage just a little bit more here, Bobo.
Jaina will respawn shortly. I was looking for it too. Hey, listen, I guess they wanted to protect bottom fort. I would love to see the rotate from Penguin to pick up that bottom camp and finally get the neutral, which hasn't been touched by either of these teams. Bottom fort really needs, I don't know, a breath from a minion. We'll see if the demonic warrior wind up converting that. Actually, he's a lieutenant. My apologies, or whatever they call him now.
We do want to see here if we can get a stall in that lane, and 5 people getting hit by that global annihilation. Look at their health bars, Bobo, just going down as we see Buns begin to clear out that siege camp, that bruiser camp, excuse me, in the mid lane, as that siege camp in the bot lane begins to pressure and takes down that fort.
He's at 368 stacks, so that's... I try to quickly do the math. About a half a dozen, you know, have to, what? Minions might be in like 3-4 waves, a couple of hits. Yeah, Love Not War is going to pick this up. I would imagine like a minute and a half. He'll be at a 400, and at that point, with the bonus damage that comes through, the stress on Drink and Run is going to be immense. And listen, you called it early in the game. Asmo does pretty well into Deckard Cain, just because you feel like teammates have to stack up on Deckard in order to be in range to get the heals.
Right, and we do see the boss picked up by ReGen Black, realizing that Get Stuffed was defending against that bruiser camp, which did do some damage to that mid-keep wall. Great play here, and even with the Web Weaver phase, with those lanes pushed out, ReGen Black decides to push in through that top.
I like it. They still have 2 forts that are going to be able to repel, you know, the Web Weaver's there. They'll be able to pick on this Web Weaver as the boss is shortly going to make mincemeat of this top wall. This is worth it right here. Maybe 1 kill, maybe you lose a fort or 2 in trade. See if Goaty makes a move here. Remember, this is Playmaker. He looked like he was thinking about Psycho there. There's the zone out from Battle Jet. Boss
it does look like, yeah, it does look like ReGen is trying to back out here, Bobo. I do like this call. Even with this damage, they do want to prevent the other lanes from getting pushed in. And for all intents and purposes, this will be a free clear in that mid lane, as we did see Azmodan reach that 400 stacks on his Global of Annihilation during that team fight in the top lane. This Web Weaver phase not doing a ton for the blue team for Get Stuffed, but they begin to rotate in that bot lane and see what pressure they can apply.
Keep an eye on that bush, maybe in the top right there on Dahaka. Get Stuffed thinking about making the invade on the fort here. Here comes Dragon King, looking for Blessed Shield, saves it. Penguin takes the warp out. There's the Lornado. Buns is kind of caught, but they're going to turn on this one. They are targeting Drink and Run there, who takes a ton of damage. Goaty is in deep there. The Scroll of Stanley comes out. Murden actually gets proc. Drink and Run has to get out of there. The Purification Salvo will come through. Jaina ice blocks. Buns goes down as Dahaka does make the invade. Love Not War with a big hit. Penguin might be the only person to make it out of there. Love Not War is gone. Does John Knight have to drag? No. So Stukov and Phoenix make it away, but that is a huge 3 kills. And Get Stuffed now with the opportunity to take back their map and maybe get another turn in shortly.
The attention on the side of ReGen Black seemed a little...
They were close.
Not ideal there. It was close.
They almost
had close.
They
almost had that Deckard.
Shield pots.
It was close, but Deckard is effectively a tank for those that have not played against him. He is hard to take down, so your entire team does need to be there. I think the massive shove could have helped with that engage just a little bit, but the attention seemed to be split. I don't think the Haymaker actually went off on the Deckard in time due to a root, actually, or a silence. I don't remember which one.
Good question. You know what? Maybe we'll have to peek out of a corner of our eye. But no, you're absolutely right. I thought Haymaker on Drink and Run and Deckard is gone. He doesn't pull it off. You can just see it spamming Alt Q to try to get out of there. And then Murden is the trade. Kane makes it out. And with that, Get Stuffed earn themselves another turn in. Oh boy. This could be a long tomb game. They do hit 20. What's the path for a keep here for Get Stuffed?
I think the push needs to happen in that top lane, Prof, because that bot lane being #1 priority with a weak keep on the side of Get Stuffed in that top. Pushing that out will allow for a win condition with that boss late game. The team deciding to go in the bot lane, however, with a full Web Weaver, clearing that wave as the Haka split pushes in the top lane.
I mean, they would have to be a little bit worried about the heroic haymaker play, if you will. 20 soon for ReGen Black, so bottom wall will be picked up by Get Stuffed. With 4 members down there as well as a Web Weaver. Top gets erased. Dahaka burrows bottom, and now this is, or excuse me, actually Dahaka beat. Hey, good move here from Get Stuffed. They're gonna pick up bottom keep. It's the free one. They do need to be careful. Let's see if they get out here.
This play was so genius by Get Stuffed. Keeping that Dahaka with the Web Weaver pushing in the top lane, forcing the team to make a decision to either save that top keep, the most valuable lane in this particular map with the boss there, or let go this bottom keep. So well done by Get Stuffed, making that 200 IQ play, in my opinion, and just forcing that keep down. So now Catapult Pressure, along with that Siege Camp, will continue to push for the remainder of the game. Both teams are level 20 now, as we see, actually, Stukov going into top off. Actually, I've never taken that talent before, but that is a pathogen healing increase. All the other ones for both sides seeming pretty standard.
I've seen a little bit of top off. I think people just still aren't convinced about the rework level 20s. I've seen that quite a bit, actually. Bottom, which has to be cleaned up here by Azmodan. The bottom lane on Tomb of the Spider Queen is really not a win condition as much as it's just a distraction. It always has to be tended to. Catapults stack up so effectively in the bot lane just because of the longer travel time. It just seems like they get going a little bit more. And now you force ReGen Black, who do not have a global, as John Knight is playing the Dahaka, he'll have the advantage there. They have to always be considering bot lane. They're going to have to commit the Azmodan, you know, even though he does have his extended range, having completed the Annihilation quest. It's a nuisance. And it opens up opportunities here, particularly around the boss, which has respawned.
Absolutely, and with both teams now at level 20, 21 minutes into the game, I'm convinced that if either team can wipe the other one, that will be GG. A no keep in that bot lane with a weakened keep in the top. Both teams posturing in this top lane, worried about the bosses. Jaina blizzards that wave into oblivion, and both teams just looking to see what to do next.
Is the play by John Knight. He just wants to maybe not even necessarily make a play. He's got 2 catapults stacked there. Global's ready. And now look, ReGen Black has to think about it. Hey, we've got 2 bottom. Somebody's got to go deal with it. Now what happens up top? Ghosty's trying to anchor. I don't think Get Stuffed really has any designs on making a play around this boss. They need more than one member of ReGen Black to be showing bottom before they're going to make that move.
Exactly, and at that exact point is when our blue team should be moving in. 3 catapults about to arrive in that bot lane will require someone from ReGen Black to make that rotation. So even though that top lane is the most important, you made an excellent point, Bobo. That bot lane will take you the longest to get to. As both teams begin to posture, the Blessed Shield does go out onto the Muradin. The Stukov is saving. Does the Muradin go out? Ghosty barely escaping with his life. The Purification Salvo just missing him. But Penguin taking so much damage. The massive shove missing as... Wow, ReGen escapes by the skin of their teeth.
So a Raider, Blessed Shield, and Lornado are traded. We saw Massive Shove, Tide of Sin in there as well, and Purification Salvo. Wow, that one was close.
I cannot believe they survived that.
There it is. There's the 2 members bottom. You see Sonya and Azmodan. And now you've got Raynor and Jaina, who do a number on this boss. They have great single target damage late. We see Ancient Blessings come through. That's a free boss for Get Stuffed.
It is a free boss for Get Stuffed, but ReGen Black here attempting to counter the push in that bot lane at the minimum and in the mid lane with a turn-in of their own, them needing to go to that top lane and defend. And once again, should they get a kill here, Ghosty looking to posture, a little aggressive, getting a stun onto the Raynor with a huge haymaker in that backline, but Stukov getting absolutely deleted. The Raynor following soon as the teams each lose 1 member. Dahaka hitting the isolation on 1 member as Ghosty gets focused down, jumping out of that scroll of ceiling, but Azmodan doing so much damage as the boss continues to push in that top lane, looking to get that key.
Boss beats out a Web Weaver. Shout out to John Knight there on the Dahaka, finding Gaspy between a mess of summoned minions. Stukov was the first member to go down and without a support. ReGen Black in big trouble here. But we'll see if, I don't know, Love Not War is hitting big. There's another shot onto Johanna. Here comes the Annihilation Globe. Not too much there. Web Weavers are being cleaned up very easily. We only have half health on mid. And Catapults, especially when you get to 20 and later, Cat has beat the objective in the bot, and you see it there in the bottom.
Right, we do see ReGen Black pushing into this mid lane with their 3 members. They do need to be just a little bit careful, as that Rainer will be coming back to Haka, most likely with that Brush Stalker up now, being able to drop that contagion on the whole team. I think as long as ReGen Black does not clump here for that contagion, they still have a really good shot, even though they are down 2 keeps at the moment.
Get stuff stepped out here. Here comes Ghosty, looking for Psycho. There's the Storm Bolt. Hasn't hit the Haymaker yet. He's trying to line it up. Actually knocks Battle Jet back. That's Rainer, who's eating a laser from Azmodan. He goes down. Blizzard is huge. The contagion has been played out, but Buns is there, spinning to win on top of a 3-man virulent reaction. Oh, Gaspy.
I have no words for what just happened.
Whoa.
The entire team of Get Stuff just got annihilated. Gaspy once again with a killer silence on the entire team, but Goki making that play with catapult pressure in that bot lane for ReGen. They move. They're going to race, Bobo. They're going to race.
It's 3 Katas and a 5v2. Just Johanna and Jaina. No ultimates available. Psycho gets knocked back. There's a Haymaker. Jaina is short to go down. Buns is low. Stukov has already gone down. We still have 2 Ketas. This is 60 to 90. Sonya is dead. 55-70. We've got Azmodan. We've got Phoenix, who's low. Should have Unconquered Spirit, though. Gofty. There's Unconquered Spirit. It comes through 40 to 40 right now. It's Catas versus Heroes. 20. All right. Looks like ReGen Black is going to get this done. Oh.
I cannot believe that. That was insane.
What a great race.
With Sonya going down so early, I was not sure they were going to do it. What a crazy game 2, Bobo.
That game was played exceptionally well by Get Stuffed. They played the map, they played the macro, and the team fight throughout the whole game. It's 9-4 in terms of kill. They actually picked up a couple extras. And 1 Haymaker onto Rainer, and then just a giant virulent reaction root hits 3 members. That's it. I mean, that play by Gaspy is the series right there.
I think he won both games. I mean, yes, the playmaker, Haymaker set it up, but if that silence isn't there and that Rainer can either focus or heal himself through that damage and pops that armor, I don't think they turn that fight. So well done and good follow-up by Gaspy on that Stukov to just completely punish the positioning and awareness of Get Stuffed in that last game.
Absolutely fantastic play. Hey, listen, man. One of these 2-second root, and he goes with, and we've seen this build actually with the Stukov, the low blow. That damage stacks up real quick, and then growing infestation. So Gaspy showing you how to play the new Stukov. All right, so let's take a hot, quick little second break here, and let's try to get ourselves an interview.
Nice.
All right, let's leave this call. Okay. We'll hop in here. Alrighty. Got that set up. Alright. Rag, you want to queue up Goft? I don't know who we'll get.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's
they've had a number of interviews. Hopefully it feels like spreading the wealth out a little bit. I don't know. I'd like to talk to Gaspy.
Yeah, let's pull him in here.
Can
Hold
we get
on.
Gaspy?
Yeah, let me go see if I can grab him. 1 sec.
Insider things. Ragnarok doing work. Now taking a step back, trying to watch this on delay. Let's see where we're at here. Oof. Again, it's just the entirety of this match just turns on one virulent reaction.
How you not gonna have the captain come in? Come on now, buddy.
Aren't you getting tired
Because
of these? Aren't you
you
getting tired of
share
these?
the love, man.
Aren't you
You
getting
gotta
tired
share
of
the
these?
love with the team.
Good, you
He's
brought
the
him in
voice of
anyway.
ReGen Black.
All
The
right.
voice of ReGen Black. He has to be here.
It's not the rule book. All right, so we are joined by the Goat Gofty, as well as Gaspy. So we have the tank and captain, as well as the support player here for ReGen Black. Gentlemen, welcome and congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Boy. I mean, where do we even get started? You guys are looking pretty darn good. You just felled the #2 team here in the Heroic Division. What has been the secret to ReGen Black's success?
Honestly, it's just been a lot of practice, a lot of feeding, as you saw in those games, and just having fun with the games. Honestly, I mean, that's what it's all about. I think that's what's helping us just kind of keep a level head.
Excellent. Before we get into, because I was going to ask Gatsby a couple questions. Ghosty, what the hell, dude? You picked Avatar.
Yeah, I picked Avatar game 1, and then you know I went full Monka S on game 2 and pick Haymaker. Whoa, that was a disaster.
Yeah, they were looking for you a little bit in the mid game, but hey, listen, late game it was getting kills. But Gatsby, we were giving you shoutouts all series long. Certainly looks like you have a good feel for this sort of new Stukov.
Yeah, I like the new Stukov rework a lot.
I mean, Virulent Reaction is still there. You're still building through the E talents. What do you think has changed for the hero, and where has he maybe even potentially gotten better?
I feel like he's a lot more burst healing potential now, and I do go the E build still. I know, in general, people like to go the W build.
Hey,
I believe
whatever's working is working,
but
man.
we have such an aggressive playstyle that I think the E build works out for us and how we play specifically.
Okay. In game #2, it seemed like Get Stuff was targeting you a little bit more and a little bit more successfully, but I mean that game changed, and we were calling it out. It looks like the domination was secured with that giant root on 3 members there in the top lane.
Yeah, that was huge. I got really excited.
Did you guys?
When that opportunity
do
came up.
you guys feel like this was maybe one of the first times that a team, you know, really was like earning a lead on you guys? It seemed like Get Stuffed had this map really well planned out, and they were working it for most of that game.
Yeah, I mean, Towers of Doom. I mean, other than just the time frame, because I mean, it is pretty late for us. You know, mentally, I don't feel that we were playing at our best capacity, but I definitely think Get Stuffed, you know, brung what they had, and like I said, we're just having fun with it. You know, game 2 was their strongest showing. Yeah, we were just trying to kind of look for opportunities to kind of finish the game, because we knew at any moment we could just slip up and just lose the game. So honestly, we were just looking for any opportunity to go in, and that's what the last team fight was. I jumped in through the bush. I kind of went for a wild haymaker once again, and you know, that time, you know, honestly, it was just a really Monka-esque game. I'm glad you think we played well. I thought Gatsby, you know, I think my team carried me for the most part, so, you know, shout outs to them.
Yeah, they, like I said, we mentioned on the cast, Get Stuff did a great job from like 10 to 16. They put a lot of pressure on you guys, like within that time window. But again, just listen, strong resiliency. I'm going to turn this over to Rag. Your questions, my co-caster.
Yeah, so once again, I'm going to echo what Bobo mentioned. You guys played excellent. I loved the decision-making at the end of your first game for Towers of Doom in particular. Tell me a little bit about the prioritization on that Phoenix Hanzo. We noticed in that first game that you guys, outside of maybe the last rites, decided to go with more of like a poke-style comp and not necessarily a ton of blow-up. Was that sort of intentional? What was your idea behind that particular draft?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to pick up the Phoenix because I saw that they already had the Deckard, and I believe they also followed it up with a Diablo. So really, we wanted to prevent the, you know, the ultimate combination with Diablo. So we picked up the Phoenix, and then after that, we picked up the Hanzo purely because we want to just fight the poke game, and then after that we just slowly started to take back, or started taking out the bottom fort. And once we had it, we knew the game was secured because we just had a ton of poke. There was no way they were getting through that. So it was a really slow siege. It was a slow siege kind of game.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes that's all you need. I think in the current meta, you start seeing teams kind of gravitate more towards that burst. But I was really impressed with your ability in the first and in that second game to really just kind of turn up that intensity, especially with your Asmodean getting stacked at 400 nice and early on Tomb. Surprised that they actually let the Asmo through for you guys. But once again, the Phoenix and that Stukov, just really doing work in that late game. The last question I have for you, Gofty, is why the Sonya in particular? We did see you didn't take the leap into that backline, but what was the idea behind the Sonya in that last game?
Honestly, it's just a comfort pick. You know, Buns feels out the situation and he's like, I'm gonna go Sonya, and that's what it is. Like I said, for the most part, we were just having fun with the games. I think, you know, on Tomb of the Spider Queen, Buns wanted to go for it. He didn't go for the leap, same way I didn't go for the Avatar. Like I said, you know, just having fun with it. We definitely got out drafted. I got to give it to Get Stuffed. Like I said, they brought it to the table. They picked up the Blaze game 1, shut down our Phoenix, kind of blow up style with Malthael. And then, you know, game 2, they kind of had the Raynor Jaina combination. And really, we were just kind of fighting a really slow kind of game, looking for opportunities to catch them off guard, because that was really the only way we felt we would win. Towers of Doom was a little bit more decisive, only because we kind of understand the macro game on that map. Tomb of the Spider Queen, they kind of understood the macro game as well. So maybe if they had understood the kind of macro game on Towers of Doom, they would have kind of given us the kind of like the same kind of game we saw on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Yeah, and I think overall you kind of hit it right on the head. We noticed that you guys were in fact down 2 keeps, but late game 20 minutes plus on most maps, especially with a weekend top keep, it really one team fight will, you know, sort of finish the game. And I could kind of not breathe near the very end there. Your core went down to like 30%. What were comms like in that final moment? Were you guys screaming? Like, what was going on?
You know, it isn't the first time we've been in this situation where we just go for core. And it certainly isn't going to be the last. I think, you know, these kind of core base races are really exciting for the viewers. So we didn't, honestly, the comms was, nobody's going back. We're finishing the game right here. I'm done with this game. Let's finish it. That was the comms. Like, we're done with this game. Let's finish it right here. So, you know, whether the catapults took it out and the finish was anticlimactic, or we finished the game, that's what it was. Honestly, we just wanted to be done with the game, and that's what we did there.
Right on. All right. Listen, guys, a fantastic early start to the season. Fantastic first 2 rounds. You were deservingly at the top of the heroic division, and now the floor is yours for shoutouts.
Perfect. I guess Gatsby, do you wanna start first, man?
Yeah, I mean, just shout out to my team, obviously, making it this far. Shout out to Murda, the organization leader. Shout out to Red, setting up our scrims and schedules for us. Shout out to Ezelin for providing us with some analytics. Shout out to you guys casting us.
It was our pleasure.
Absolutely, man.
And I guess, like Gatsby said, you know, shout outs to the team, shout outs to the players as well, and also the teams that's you know, giving us the practice that we need to kind of improve as a team. Again, our goal is really to compete in the open division. So all of this is just, you know, learning opportunity for us. That's how we see it. That's what's allowing us to continue to grow. So, you know, hopefully these teams continue to grow as well. And that's about it.
All right, guys. Best of luck. Hope to catch you guys towards the end of the playoffs or maybe later in the season. ReGen Black with a win over Get Stuffed.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Later, guys.
Okay. All right, Rag. We're going to put a bow on this beaut. Your thoughts. I thought, listen, it was a 2-0, but I didn't think there was too much separating these teams. I thought Get Stuff did a number of great things. How about you?
Both of those games, man, down to the wire. That second one just, again, I was just frozen. I could not comprehend what was happening at the very end there. But even in that Towers game, right, I do think that ReGen Black did play the better macro game at the end. But as we kind of expected, both teams evenly matched, good drafts, and it just kind of came down to execution at the end of the day. But, you know, in a game like this, someone has to win and someone has to lose. And in this particular series, it went over to Black. So kudos to them and GG's to Get Stuffed. I loved what they brought to the table. I loved the plays they made. I'm looking forward to seeing them again in the future.
Definitely. Looks like it could be a finals rematch, or hopefully we'll catch these teams again. I definitely look forward to seeing if I can snap up the rematch. All right, before we take off, Rag, where can we find you?
Thanks, man. You guys can find me over on Twitter and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Ragnarok or twitter.com/Ragnarok. That's with 2 N's and 2 R's.
Right on. All right. I have been your host for the evening, Professor Bobo. That is going to do it for us. We are going to spread the ReGen love, a little bit of waffle. We are going to raid Make Love Not War shortly. Listen, it's been my pleasure tonight, guys. All the best. Catch you here soon.